What's up, guys? My name is eCommerce. I do tens of millions of dollars a year with my e-commerce stores. I run a portfolio of brands. And in today's video, I really want to go over just a simple strategy that we use during the peak holiday season. So I'm talking about Black Friday, Christmas, everything that kind of leads up to that to help us maintain over $100,000 a day consistently in this time of the year. This is actually one of our smaller stores right now, but just to show you guys what Black Friday, Cyber Monday looked like for last year. So on this store, we were able to do over 133,000 on November 29th. We were then able to do 111,000 on November 30th. We had a slight dip below the $100,000 a day to $92,000, and then we went back up to $108,000. And again, we do this across multiple stores. This is just one example of what we do. So in today's video, what I really want to go over, like I said, is just the simplicity of how we keep the strategy, what we actually change, what we revert, and how you guys can take exactly what we do to apply it into your stores. By the way, I have absolutely nothing to sell you if you do below $100,000 a month. Everything that I go over in my YouTube channel as a whole, this video included, is the actual strategies that we use. So you guys can literally just take it and plug it into your business. Now, if you do want one-on-one support directly from myself, my co-founders, our team as a whole, where we give you guys the actual strategies and blueprints tactically for what we're doing behind the scenes and work directly with you to implement everything in your business to help you scale a lot quicker. That's where we do have our one-on-one consulting program. So you guys can check the link down below if you're interested to apply, especially during this time. It's a great time to work with the program, obviously with peak season coming in front of us. And just to give you context on the group itself, so not even including any of my brands, the group as a whole is doing over $16 million a month in sales. So it's very high level, high caliber people. The average of each client right now is around $800,000 a month. So it's very high level people that you guys would be working with. And again, we only can work with you if you're doing at least, like at the bare minimum, $100,000 a month, but ideally a little bit more than that to really fit in well with the group. But anyways, guys, I do want to just offer that for whoever is interested. So I'm going to go over 5 very simple strategies that I look at across this time of the year that you guys can take directly from this video and actually implement into your business. So let's start with point number 1. This is probably the highest leverage thing that you got, which is the offer. And if you guys watch any of my videos, you know that I'm always talking about offers. I think that it's probably one of the most underutilized tests that's out there, which probably has the biggest impact on the overall business and your business model, which I'll tie back into at the end. But regardless, the offer is the thing that really has the most weight within Black Friday. So it's what's the deal that you're giving for Black Friday, for Christmas, for all these peak holiday seasons that come throughout the Q4, which I think what makes Q4 so powerful is all the holidays that you can use at your disposal. So what we do with this is we keep this as simple as humanly possible. Most people are like scrambling during this time. So when Black Friday is coming, they're trying to test all these different offers, make all these modifications to their website, all of these things, which is really the worst thing that I think you can do. What we do is we just make sure that we're doing testing throughout the entire year. So our offer testing is coming all ahead of this peak season time. And even we're still doing some independent offer testing as of today, right now, where we're always just trying to test new offers. But what we're doing is we're validating what is the highest performing offer that we've seen work within the business. And when Black Friday comes around, all we're doing is we're changing the context of that offer to just be from a general offer or whatever other holidays or seasonal discounts that are happening of why we're giving that offer to just changing it to the offer is because of Black Friday. The offer is because of Christmas. So we're just taking the thing that we already know works from all of the data and testing that we've done prior, and then we're just changing the offer to Black Friday. Now, the other things that we are not doing is completely changing up the website without doing any proper split test, trying to make all the imagery to be contextual to the holiday, where Halloween is here, we're changing everything across the site. Or if ahead of Black Friday, we're changing all of the different designs of the site to show the holiday. These are the things that we are definitely not doing. We are trying to keep as many variables exactly the same. And this is through years of Black Fridays where we've done a lot of those more common things where you try to change a lot of things. And every time it would hurt performance ahead of time, where what we do now is we literally just try to keep, again, everything almost exactly the same, except for the deal, maybe some minor imagery around the deal to help show the deal. Pop-up will also change just to show the design again. But aside from that, we're keeping from the website perspective, almost everything exactly the same. We're just, again, changing the context of the deal. So for example, if the deal is, let's just say 50% off plus, let's just say plus one one gift. So one free gift, we'll do FG. That's supposed to be a G. Very hard to write with this. My apologies, guys. So let's say it's 50% off plus one free gift, something like that. We're just going to use that and then say because of Black Friday. So Black Friday special, 50% off plus one free gift, for example. If that's the core offer that we've seen working. So I guess the strategy here is to not really change anything. The strategy is just to use whatever good offer that you've seen work best throughout the entire year. Use that as your primary offer. Number two is lead gen campaign. So go super hard on email. So what we do during this time of the year is we have independent campaigns that are very simple where we're just gathering different leads. Of course, we have the pop-up form on our website that is also gathering different leads. And then we just go super hard on utilizing our email to push the offer forward to the customers that are ready. And again, we're using the core offer that we already know works. And then we're just now emphasizing that offer through the backend and through the email, because during this time while you're advertising is a lot more expensive. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing the amount of emails that you are getting during this peak period. And when you gather those emails, you want to really utilize the campaigns as much as possible without overdoing it. So finding the right ratio where you're going to maximize the amount of sales, especially as the holidays come. Black Friday is the obvious one, but even the other holidays as well that are during this Q4 season, just making sure that you are maximizing your email list to gather as much revenue as possible. Now, the next part is from a creatives perspective, which again, it's going to follow a very similar theme to what you guys are hearing over here, which what I like to do is take our winning creatives and then essentially take those creatives to be exactly the same and just add Black Friday or different holiday CTAs at the end where we're taking all the variables that we've already been proving throughout the year. And a lot of times we'll even take old ads that we saw performing, modify those to be a Black Friday ad that's more contextual to this time of year, and then rerun those ads that we have the most proven data behind with the right CTAs for, again, either Black Friday, either Christmas, either Halloween, which just passed, but whatever the biggest holidays are, just taking those, remixing it with everything being almost exactly the same, maybe adding something also to the hook that can have some context of a banner of Black Friday special deal, like at the top of it. And then at the end, again, just changing the context of the actual call to action to be oriented around the holiday that is coming. So that's the next part that we'll do. The next part that's actually super interesting during this time of year of what I've noticed is that you want to be as aggressive as possible with your spend. And the reason behind this, at least my theory behind it, is that in this time of year, what I notice is that if we have days that we're spending less, our ROAS actually gets lower than the days that we actually spend much more. And what I'm talking about, like right now, as of today, we spend a lot. Like we're spending close to $50,000 a day. We're looking to scale that a lot further. And what I've noticed is like if we go from 50K to 30K a day, our end ROAS or our new customer ROAS will typically be lower at the lower spend than when we're spending at higher. And the reason why I think that is because in this time of year, everyone and their mom is advertising, right? It's Q4. It's the best time of year. Customers are spending the most amount of money throughout this whole time period. But at the same time, everyone knows that, right? So everyone is spending a lot of their dollars and marketing budget during this time of the year. And this is the time where people are typically making the most money with e-commerce brands. So my theory on all this is by spending more, it puts you in a higher placement within the auction system on Facebook or typically whatever advertising platform that you're using, so that when you do that, you can actually maintain that return on ad spend more easily because you're getting the higher quality people in these traffic pools so that you can actually maximize the amount of sales. Long story short on all of these points over here is that the work of scaling to the $100,000 a day mark consistently throughout Q4 is actually done way before Q4. Again, like the offer, these are things that you should have been testing throughout the entire year so that you know what your best offer is. If you haven't been testing this throughout the whole year, but you're here today and you're scaling still, it means that you still probably have an offer that worked well. You probably should have done more testing ahead of time to try to find what the maximum offer would be. But regardless, you have something here that's working. So the goal here is not to change the offer that's working. It's to take the offer, but change the context of what the reason is behind the discount, because customers are smart in that sense, right? If you're just saying you're giving a discount for no particular reason, people will definitely be skeptical of it. Whereas if you're saying this is a Black Friday discount of 50% off, which you're just running a 50% off at any random part of the year, people will be like, okay, why are they giving a 50% off? They'll be probably thinking twice about that. Whereas if it's during this time of the year and you're giving 50% off, it's like, holy shit, 50% off, they don't question it because it would make sense for brands to be giving that crazy of a discount during that time of year. So they take that a lot more literal. So by changing the context, that's really all that we do. And maybe some people have different strategies around it, but we've been doing this for 4+ years at this point, and it works extremely well every single year. This is the first part, right? So it's, again, you're taking the work, you're doing it on the offer. Now, the same thing applies with creatives, right? You spent a lot of time testing creatives, ideally, and especially if you've got to this point and you're doing above $100,000 a month, it means you definitely have creatives that have been working. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's not about making, and again, you should be testing completely new concepts and stuff. So that's not to say that you shouldn't be doing it, but the whole strategy and the premise of the strategy is not to try to make something work out of thin air during Black Friday. It's just to take all the stuff and all the work that you've done prior and then change the context of it so that you can get the reasoning that customers will be able to easily justify in their head of such an incredible offer and be able to really tap into that and maximize it. So again, it's taking what you've already had working and doing that. And then it's about, with all this influx of traffic, being able to maximize that traffic and the amount that you're spending, which again, it's a premium that you're spending for every single visitor you get on your site. You're spending more than you typically would. So making sure that you're, first off, gathering those emails correctly, taking other opportunities to gather more emails, and then making sure that you're fully tapped into the lead gen campaigns that you've already worked on. So the people that haven't bought, but you've got their email in some form of capacity, you're making sure to maximize the amount of revenue that you're making through those campaigns. And then the next part here is really just spending as much as possible. Spending will allow you to get in front of and jump in front of all of the different competition that you have so that you're getting the most premium pools of the market. And what you will find is that most of the time, at least from my experience, your return on ad spend will be higher at those higher spends than it will be at the lower spends. So you should be spending, and if you're doing all this, it's going to make it much easier to spend. Last point here, which this one I guess is a little bit harder to just do than all the other ones, because all the other points, again, super simple. You guys can do this like literally quick tweaks after the video. It's not that much that you have to change. This one is a little bit more challenging, obviously, which is your business model as a whole. This was a lesson that took me far too long to actually learn, and I really learned the value of this lesson over the last year or so from transitioning my businesses into subscription-based businesses. Because every single year prior, and for the last 4 Black Fridays, we've consistently done hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, sometimes multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a day on multiple stores at the same time. So I've learned a lot during this process and during this Q4 season, which again, simplicity is the first part of everything. So you want to keep everything as simplistic as possible, which is what this whole premise is of the things that I mentioned before. The second part is this time of year, Q4 as a whole, where it's easier to acquire customers, it's easier to spend more on ads, it's easier to get people to justify making bigger purchases, right? You can make a lot of money during this time just on the front end, right? And that's typically how we looked at this time of year, is just let's try to make as much money as possible, let's try to make as much profits as possible, and so on and so forth. Whereas the way that I look at things now, which is completely different, which kind of falls in line with, if you guys have watched my other videos, and the subscription-based business model, that's where there's such a big opportunity over here, because during this time, if you do run a subscription-based business, right, the way that you should be looking at this time of year is not about maximizing profits, it's about maximizing the amount of subscribers that you get. And if you have to do it at break even or even at slight losses during this time of year, it's worth it, because the amount of momentum that will carry over into 2026 for you by maximizing the amount of subscribers is unparalleled to the amount of profit that you can just make on day one. So the strategy as a whole and the business model, which is honestly the big problem for most of you guys, is that first off, most of you guys don't understand the actual numbers and the unit economics of the subscription-based business model if you already are running it, of how much you can actually afford to lose on day one. So if you guys want to get more information on that, watch my last video, because I go super deep into like how you can look at the different unit economics of the business model as a whole and how you can find how much you can actually spend. So I have a video on how you can do that. But the second part that most people aren't understanding is also how to future pace that acquisition, where when you're losing that money, how you can actually look at this over the next 6 to, let's say, 12 months of how much your MRR will actually compound, your monthly recurring revenue will compound month over month from even the sales that you do during this time period, by understanding how to read the different cohorts. So if you guys don't get what I'm saying, it might sound confusing, but to keep this very simplistic, The strategy is to acquire as many new customers as possible. These new customers, over the course of 12 months, every single month will retain for a certain percentage, right? If you have a subscription program, maybe it's 70% will renew on month one, 50% will renew on month two, all the way to month 12, where you still might have 10% of those customers that you acquired during this time period still renewing. So if you focus on just acquiring as many new customers as close to break even, so however much your budget actually allows you to acquire, this is going to make the scaling process in 2026 that much easier. So with this being said, guys, on all of these points, what you want to do here is all the things that I mentioned before, right? It's taking all the previous data that you have, amplifying that by the season and the holidays that come here. So it just amplifies the offer. It amplifies your winners and past creatives. It allows you to spend more, and spending more is actually an advantage during this time of year. You have your emails, you do all of those things. But the biggest thing out of everything is point number 5, where it's figuring out what the right business model is so that you can actually maximize this time. And if you don't run a subscription-based business, then I would highly suggest ahead of these peak times to actually try to test it if it's feasible with your product, to try to test a subscription-based offer. And if not, the other thing is you want to think about the back-end side, the lifetime value side. So even if you don't have a subscription-based offer, it's figuring out how can you also create a path with all these new customers so that it's not just a one and done with these guys. It's you're trying to figure out how you can create a strategy on the back end side from all this work and all this scale that typically comes out of Q4. Because Q4 to me is just the entry point for 2026. That's the way that I'm looking at it now. It's all these new customers. This is going to allow me to make millions upon millions of dollars a month in monthly recurring revenue that I'm going to see the benefits for in 2026. So guys, if you guys got value from this, please and subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any questions on how to actually apply any of this stuff, comment down below. And again, if you guys want to actually work with me to, especially for point number 5, implement this strategy into your business, where I can work one-on-one with you to help you craft the right subscription-based offer, show you guys exactly how to implement that into your front end so that you can actually easily market it, give you guys resources and team access to be able to consistently ask some of the best players in the space that we have working within our internal companies on how to continuously execute on it, work one-on-one with me throughout the next 90 days or so to continuously optimize all these tests, and also be able to work with my business partners on a lot more different stuff of the business on the back end, on the finance sides, to be able to just continuously scale, then please apply down below. Again, the requirement is you have to be doing a minimum of $100,000 a month. But if you're doing that and you're ready to scale much further and get to $1 million or multi-millions a month in sales, then this program is right for you. So thanks again for watching, guys, and excited to see how you guys all scale.